Okay, today is August the 11th, 2015, and we're looking at the water vapor loop for the Northeast Pacific. And California, Southern California and Central California have forecast for triple-digit weather the next 4 or 5 days. And this is another good example of what happens with the temperatures when we have a big low pressure moving down, threatening rain to the state that really needs rain. Okay, so this is another example, and there's going to be plenty more of these, but I just want to point this out that we have two lows here. We have one down here, and the transmitters, the HAARP transmitters, are preventing any of this thunderstorm activity down here from spiraling into this vortex. And the same is true over here. We have a large thunderstorm situation right here. Those are all being blown apart because they would have otherwise moved right into this vortex and fed this low pressure and given it some new life. Without moisture, these don't do much. You can see what happens here when they block all the moisture. They just they continue to spin a little bit, but there's no real punch. So the mission here, two things. They're keeping this at bay by blowing these storms apart right here. We can see that they're blowing these apart with a HAARP transmitter. They've been doing this all day right here. This flow is going to move right into that vortex, and they are preventing that from happening. Additionally, this storm up here, this low pressure, is being attacked right here with a transmitter. And there is a lot of high pressure right here being applied by a transmitter. So they're trying to isolate this, and in doing that, they're forcing hot air through here, which is clearing out all the clouds and setting Southern California up for a very, very hot rest of the week. Tomorrow and all the way through the weekend, they're forecasting over 100 degrees for the valleys in Los Angeles. All right. Okay, so now meanwhile, Hurricane Hilda right here has actually moved a little bit backwards. It looks like it's actually trekked. In other words, the core has backed away from its original position today, and they're continuing to hit this storm. We can actually see a blast pattern on the last couple of frames right up here. We'll take a look at that too. So there's a lot of stuff going on. We have a low spinning here. This is a high, or rather a upper level low. We can see all these three on the 300 millibar chart, and they're big, powerful lows, but they're not doing a whole lot because they've been squashed out by these transmitters. All right, the canopy of high pressure over Hawaii has been sort of deformed, but there is a pocket here. They are attempting to keep this storm isolated, like they did over here with this low pressure. And I believe the winds on this system are now at 75 or 70 miles per hour. They're starting to squash it out. We can see that right there. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the infrared map for this same view. Now, this spinning low does have some moisture in it. This flow here, which was blocked by the high that was installed here. Let's go back real quick and do a recap. They have a high pressure installed here, and all this weather moves down and along to the east because it cannot move any further. It just mushrooms into this high pressure that they've installed with a transmitter here, and it moves out. Now what's happening is it's curving down here, and it's feeding into this low here, which they don't like. But they don't have a choice. They don't have enough transmitters apparently to pull this one off. But what's happening is that the moisture is going down through here. We can see it, and it's actually feeding this system. So we do have quite a bit of rain in this spinning low. All right, now it's going to be very interesting to see what they do because let's go back to the water vapor map. We've got two big lows right here, and here's California. All right. We should be getting some rain from this situation here. The jet stream pattern, as we can see, is going right into California. And if this low moves down, we will get some rain, but they're not going to let that happen. Okay, now look at what's happening over here. We have tons and tons of thunderstorms, millions of gallons of rain, billions of gallons of rain right here. And it's being moved around because of this high pressure that's pinned right here near Texas. So California right here, once again, is being gypped of Mother Nature's rain. We can't seem to get rain no matter what. In July 19th, last month, we were lucky that we got that much rain. It was a real strange event. And who knows, it could happen again, but I just want to point this out. While it's happening here, we got these two big lows, plenty of moisture happening all around California. And we got this hurricane, we have a low here. And look at all this moisture flow coming down right here. They're already setting up for that. They've got they've plowed a column here of dry air using phased array radar or some sort, and they've separated this here. Today this was a little bit better organized, but they're not going to let this come down and get involved with these lows here. That's a big no-no. So they want to keep this separated from this at all costs, and that's where we're going to see that happen too. All right, so let's move on here. This is the East Pacific. This is that low off of Baja. We can see what's happening. They've separated all this thunderstorm activity from this low. They don't want any moisture feeding this. So that's a priority here. We can see here they're trying to prevent all this from moving in here. They're blowing these apart so that won't happen. Okay. Same with down here. They've got a pretty nice wall built around this, and to prevent that from spinning up into something that would bring rain to the area. All right, next, this is the infrared loop. We do see that this has absorbed some moisture from into the vortex from some of these thunderstorms that we've been talking about. All right, so there is some rain starting to spin around in the center of that. Okay, let's move on to the next map. This is the daylight visible mode. And we can't see the destruction of the storms in this view too well, but all day long they were killing these off as they were moving in towards the vortex. Okay, so let's go on to the next map here. This is the Central Pacific water vapor map. Now, excuse me, looks like this hurricane is seeing its last gasp. They are hitting it hard now. There's a big headwind against this storm. We can see basically that the leading edge of this hurricane is basically the core on the first few frames here. We can see that the first few frames of this loop, this core right here is being hit pretty good. We can see the shock waves moving out off of the sides here and down here too. There's a couple of HAARP rings here that are moving about. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at that in the this is the infrared loop. We can see a lot of violent interaction going on here. We have a blast pattern all around this edge here and down here. Let's go back again and look at the water vapor loop. This is a blast right here all along this edge. That is high velocity water vapor moving right out through the side of this in the face of this strong easterly flow of wind and all the rest of it. Okay, so that's being blasted, and we can see diminishment in the core as well. So this storm is pretty much on its way out. Looks like they're attempting to put some dry air around it, but there's a lot of other thunderstorms right around the area, so they'll keep working on that for a couple of days. All right, this is the infrared loop. We can see some HAARP rings moving out right here. High velocity blast rings. Let's go back and look at it again here. We can see a ring right up here, right there. Okay, it's real easy to see those rings because they move faster than all the other weather right around them. Okay, so we looked at that. Here is the visible loop. Okay, not a whole lot to see right there. We can see some blast rings coming out of the bottom here. Some strange, fast-moving rings right here. So they're working on that, obviously. Okay, next, here is the southwest water vapor loop. And here's California. And today, driving home in the late afternoon, the entire eastern skyline was full of chemtrails. And that's because this weather is starting to move into the desert areas. And here's LA right here. So we're looking at maybe 60 miles, which is the visibility I had today. I saw plenty of chemtrails out on the eastern horizon as well as the western horizon because we have some moisture moving in off of the Pacific. We can go take a look at the big map once again to see that right here. This is part of the tail of Hurricane Hilda, which is being pulled in on this pressure pattern here, this flow pattern right into here. So they're chemtrailing in the western and the eastern skies. Okay, all right, so that's what's happening. Now the barometric pressure this morning was 30 inches even. And right now, tonight, it is 29.98. So the pressure is dropping. We're on a trend where the pressure is dropping. And the reason is because that hurricane is that storm, that low pressure system up near the Oregon and California border is moving closer. So the pressure is dropping. And that's the reason. So this is going to be an interesting battle between Mother Nature and the people running these transmitters because we have these two systems. These are very, very large. And this thing here's been here for days. I mean, 5, 6, about maybe 7 days. And they've built almost a right angle using a radar. They've built this out to prevent any flow into this area, which would spiral in and feed that. Okay, so these guys have got this down to a science, folks. This is an endeavor that's been going on for years, as it turns out. When I research this more on the web, I see that natural weather has not been around for a very long time, and these transmitters are in use all around the world. So we'll just keep doing these videos, and hopefully people will start. Enough people will start watching these. And watching what happens now. Okay, here's the visible loop. This series of storms is being blown away, and of course, right when that's happening, we have technical difficulties with the NOAA server for this view. But we can see what looks like they're blasting this storm right here. Let's go back and look at it in the right there. You see a blast right out of the side of this storm, right there. The very bottom of that big storm right there. They are blasting it. And let's go look at this in water vapor again. Okay, yeah, right there. So in about 3 or 4 hours, we'll get to see the tail end of this disappear off. It'll just vanish from the map after they kill it off. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it. We'll keep an eye on these spinning lows off of California. California is literally surrounded by weather and can't seem to get rain. Once in a blue moon we get a real good soaking. So we'll pray that one or more of these transmitters craps out. Okay, so that's it. We'll do another one tomorrow.